brother man. In every nation in the Caribbean, we suffering down in the Caribbean. And it's all because of stinking oppression, repressive education for a chosen few. So many brothers on the corner, cause no school to go, no work to do, crying sin kicks, crying Nevis, in Antigua, in Dominica, oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off the bone.
Show the Lord, show the Lord.
Colonialism went, oh that I know, but oppression never ever let we go. They granted independence few by few, but oppressors never ever left them to. With his imperialistic game plan, he monopolized the land. Now the people of the Caribbean ain't got much food, ain't got much land. The crying Binsha, Erie back in Grenada, in Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off the bone.
Show the Lord, show the Lord.
The thing that hurt me most about oppression is the involvement of we politicians. You both, brother, to help fight oppression. Brother, get in there and join the bandwagon. You oppose the ruling party, you become an enemy, and you could swear to Jah Almighty. That's your destiny, your destiny. The crying NASA in Bermuda, in Aruba, Martinique, St. Lucia. Oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off the bone. Oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off the bone. Oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off we bone. Leave we alone.
Show the Lord, show the Lord.
Come off we bone. Right. Oppressors, 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 oppressors.
Yeah, songs of the man Beckett, Oppression. Good afternoon, good evening. I'm JefroyMorrishaw coming to you live and direct from the Gaza here in the Boogie Down Bronx, and it's definitely some serious oppression taking place there in our beloved Federation by way of our sister island is Queen City Nevis. Enough of oppression. We're going to be discussing that shortly. Lot to talk about, lot to discuss. It's been a very busy week, last week and over the weekend. We have the weather here, chilly, cold, snowing, everything and all of that good stuff. But, I have been following some of the chatter and social media and stuff, and something, we talk about Satan. And I decide, I don't want a Satan company around me at all, because guess what? JefroyMorrishaw is a God bless man, eh? And I appreciate the folks that is around me and that have God has put in my circle. So definitely this evening, I'm gonna have to drop one here by my boy Culture for all of those wicked-minded people out there. Keep in mind that no amount of money will save us when that time comes for us to cross over the other side. Gotta have some love in your heart and love for the people. But we're gonna do it nice this evening, I'm gonna come back shortly and say good evening, good afternoon to some good folks. But before we do that, let me drop this one by the man Culture. This one is called Satan Company.
There's no use to chat with the devil. It's useless. Coming now go in a Babylon kingdom. Go beg no bread. We now go in a Babylon kingdom. Go beg no bread. For Satan company, them are snipers. Satan company, them are snipers. Now go in a Babylon kingdom. Go beg them bread. We not in a Babylon kingdom. Go beg them bread. For Satan company, them a sniper, all of them. Satan company, them a sniper. What them do? They rob and they cheat the poor people all the time. They sit and keep a conference while some drink wine. Say, Satan company, them a sniper. Me Lord, the Satan company, yeah, them a sniper. I don't want to be in their conference at all, to try and keep poor black people down. Say, Satan company, them a sniper. They're all Satan company. Them a sniper. So find them neighbor. Idle jesting. Walk the street without the Lord. Jah Rastafari. Satan company. Them a sniper. They all are Satan company. Them a snipers. Company, them a sniper, oh Jah. Satan company, them a snipers. Coming out go in a Babylon kingdom. He go beg no bread. He not go in a Satan kingdom. He go beg no bread. Want to see I beg that them run go chat. Them and them neighbor on the table, them chat about that. Hey, from in a Babylon kingdom, go big me bread. In a Babylon kingdom, go big me bread. In a Babylon kingdom, go big me bread. Just son never beg bread. We not go in a Babylon kingdom, go big me bread. Just suffer eating that Satan company. Them a snipers. We run come laugh at me. Them a sniper. We not go in a Babylon kingdom, go beg them bread. It's a shame. We not go in a Babylon kingdom, go beg them bread. We are the sons of kings. Satan company. Them a snipers. The Satan company. Them a sniper, Lord. Satan company. Them a sniper. We now follow them. A Satan company. Them a sniper. Them beggy, licky, licky. Satan company. Them a sniper.
Yes, man, Satan Company, that's all they have there in the little Queen City, Nevis. There's a lot to talk about. Let me take my spectacles off here that I could speak to you good people of Nevis, you know, because right now, I basically done speaking with the politician them, you know. The politician them, they are Satan Company. Them politician you all have in Nevis there, in the blue machine, a Satan Company. The amount of lies and stuff I hear in that budget address last week, no normal person gonna tell them kind of lie there. And when they get caught in their own lies, they come back and try to correct it and tell even more lies and sound like God knows what. So them they a Satan Company. Me that got time with them things there, right? So let me talk to my good people here online, my online viewership, who basically have an open mind. Let's deal with the realities of life that is taking place in our lovely Queen City, Nevis there. I know some of you who might be drinking the baby Brantley Kool-Aid might not want to hear what I have to say. And basically, if you don't want to hear what I have to say, it's very simple. You log off. Because what I'm bringing to you is factual. The clips I'm going to be playing this evening is coming straight from the horse's mouth, from the baby's mouth. It's not nothing DJ Morrishaw put together. These things you just can't make up. You would have to have a very imaginative mind to come up with some of these things I'm hearing coming from that side here. So, you know, the online viewership has been very busy for the last couple of weeks and more so over the weekend. The WhatsApp messages, the phone calls, the messengers and stuff like that. You know, so I just wanted to talk the things them and deal with the matters as they arise. So I would say good evening to our online viewership this evening. I've heard a lot of anti-government rambling, all kind of things I'm hearing, all kind of things. I would not even repeat some of them here this evening because I would only be giving legs to the falsehood. And I'm not here to spread falsehood. I am just here to talk the things and present the facts as I know them. As this program produced this evening, you would hear somewhere along the line that Baby Brantley said he is fully aware and the public is fully aware that he normally brings things and report during his press conference and otherwise without verifying them or making sure he presented facts. DJ Morrishaw ain't gonna do that. I'm going to verify. And if for some reason there's a doubt, if there's less than a 90% guarantee that the information I'm going to produce is not factual, I try my utmost best not to peddle falsehood. So I will not walk in the shoes of Baby Brantley and present things to the public that is not so. And remember, I am not a paid civil servant. I'm not paid by you taxpayers. Baby Brantley is being paid by you, the taxpayers, and you all expect them to lead properly and give you factual information. But in his recent press conference there, he said that you guys are aware, the people are aware that stuff that he presents are not always factual because he don't make sure that he's bringing the facts to you guys. So one of the things I want to bring to the attention this evening, right? Because I'm hearing about some Haitians who entered the Federation some time ago, over the last couple of weeks by way of Nevis, whether they claim that they came in because the vessel was giving trouble and they end up in the Nevis waters and whatever. Rumors have it, and this one is rumors, so I would use the word rumors. I want to say rumors. I don't mean Alvan Brown Rumors restaurant. I mean rumors as in the things that people say. That the new Labour administrations had intentions of deporting these folks on the 26th of February, 2023, which was last Sunday. And there's an attorney in the Federation that has filed for injunction and the deportation and was successful and whatever. All of these things, I do not know the nitty-gritty of it, so I'm not going to get into right and wrong. But I want to believe that is a big difference between someone entering a federation and legally and want to claim certain rights or whatever the case might be. Not too long ago, under the farmer concussion led by the farmer hag and the former foreign minister, David Brantley, and the PAM, Sean Richards. I don't know if you guys remember the rumbling about Haitians, foreigners entering our waters. Some of them was housed in community centers and whatever. I see pictures and the confusion paper there saying it's Nevis Times. There was boasting, showing the plane at RLB that deported these Haitians or whoever they were that were deported. I didn't hear any rumblings of lawyers filing for them, injunction for them to stay in the country and they have rights and this kind of stuff. So I do not know if under the previous administration, it was okay for foreigners to enter the country illegally and benefit with our passports and citizenship and voters ID card to keep them in power. But now is a different situation under the Labour administration, because I understand there was folks that came in, that I understand. I observe many illegal activities taking place at the electoral office, where people was coming, they don't even know where they're going, where they're living, with just a paper in their hand. Some of them did not even have an ID. And they was able to enter the electoral office and get registered for the elections. And this evening, we should be speaking with our Honorable Attorney General. He should be joining me at the top of the hour. And we will speak to some of those investigations where there are foreigners that came in with the fake marriages and was able to obtain our citizenship and passports and stuff like that, and they are doing some investigations. So what I'm speaking about here is nothing new, whatever, to the conversation. But like I said, under the previous administration, there was people who entered the Federation, was treated a certain way. Some was deported, some was allowed to stay, some was brought in to accommodate their whatever benefits they were to benefit. So I don't understand really what's going on in our beloved Federation. But at the end of the day, we will deal with it. You know. I listened to the patch-up fellow carrying on with all kind of things about what this current administration doing or not doing. The part that is puzzling me about the patch-up fellow is many of the things he's accusing the new Labour administration for, or the new government for doing, is what they were doing. There's nothing of this sort taking place under this administration. But for some reason, it seems like he's still living in the past. But God will deal with all of that, you know. And whatever is taking place now to undermine the situation with the new administration, whatever the case may be, I know the Almighty will fix it for me, and the facts will take care of itself. The Integrity in Public Life Bill and other Freedom of Information Act and the corruption laws, those things will be enforced shortly. I understand that they went to the necessary tabling and debates and whatever. So when the AG join me later on this evening, we'll get into that a bit more. Baby Brantley and his team seems to be suffering from some kind of convenient state of dementia. I think they're having some kind of mental breakdown because the clips that I'm going to be dropping this evening, it's very confusing. You will realize that many things that they're speaking about during the presentation, the budget debate, I heard Baby Brantley and the rest of his colleagues in the background cheering on the new junior minister of health. And she said she had her receipts, and they seems to be very supportive of her report. But days later, I understand Baby Brantley come back now, and he's trying to say that there was some mistakes in the numbers that she was presenting, and he's going to work on getting that matter resolved and get back to us. Well, partner, I wonder if Baby Brantley understand that we in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, that we are sensible people. And in light of what the patch-up fellows say that we don't have common sense. The fact is the people of St. Kitts Nevis do have sense. And we will not allow you to investigate yourself and come back and tell us what your findings are. We're going to do our due diligence to investigate the situation and come back and present the facts to the people. That is why I'm here. My team is busy trying to get to the bottom of those numbers. And I have confidence that the original numbers that was given by Sister Hazel Brandy Williams is actually the correct numbers. We all heard about the hacking and stuff. You know, we all know how things are done to hide information and whatever. But those information will be unearthed, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. Because all of this nonsense that's going on here, eventually, you give them the long rope, you know. My grandfather and grandmother tell me, give them time, give them the long rope till they hang themselves. And what I have seen here is that Baby Brantley had hung himself several times over. He did the damage during the election, hung himself. He came back during the budget debate, he hung himself. And now he come back in a press conference and confess that he, for sure, have not been presenting the facts. He's been presenting information without verifying. So if the people of Nevis are willing to accept that, where I am sitting here, I have no control over it. I can only highlight the situation and let good common sense and morals dictates. We know they don't have any morals. I understand my good brother there, Brother Astro, sing a song. They are morally bankrupt. But you know, he asked me not to play that song on the program anymore. So I'm going to respect my boy Astro. But it doesn't change the fact that that team, that blue machine that they speak so highly about when they try to brag, is morally bankrupt, totally bankrupt. So let me take a chance out here and say good evening to some folks. Sister Tanya Powell, Lydia Paris, IDLT Mac, Glendon, what are they? Hood Love, Shahid, Shanta, Brown, Darwin Fleming, Colleen, how you doing? Tessa Howell, Yvonne Jeffers, how you doing? How is the UK? How is the weather in that end? Loretta Clark, really? Gigi Williams, Delicious Nicholas Brown, how you doing? Sister Hazel Claxton, everything good with you? How was Sister Naomi Ward? Sister Deli Keynes, my girl there, Sister Janice Daniel Hodge, how you doing? Sister Cicely Brown, how you doing? Sis, everything good with you? Ruthlin Hill, how you doing? Everything good with you? JT Taylor, the man there, Brother Thaddeus Deposa, how you doing? Good evening. Alvin Davis, Brother Alvin Brown, Tanya Powell, Brother Kelvin Daly, the man Carlisle Powell, Tulu, how you guys doing there? The man Hensley Daniel, Brother Joseph Parry, the Fawi, Ivor, how you doing? Everything good with you? Loretta Clark, man, Farrell, I want to big up my boy there, the man there, Brother Jeff Pemberton. Everything good with you? Ruby Walters, how you doing? Tenari Chapman, Bernadette Tyson, Teresa, how you doing? Everything good? Old Mascol. How about Shanda Brown? Sister Ann Basso, how you doing? Everything good with you? How you doing? Big things there in Nevis. Congratulations. Idona Brown, Sylvester Pemberton. How about whether they are Uncle Joseph Emmanuel? Bernadette Tyson. The man there, Everson Harris, how you doing? I can't keep reading these folks. The man there, Eustace Hendrickson, how you doing, my brother? Everything good? How is the folks in the Houston area? Paul Francis, Sister Beverly Morrishaw, good evening, how you doing? Romeldo, Jeffers, how you doing? I good, everything good. You're in Orlando? All right, nice, nice. Mary Nolan, how you doing? Good evening. The man Ras, how is brother Ras doing? The man Ian Queely, Ambassador Queely, how you doing? Gail Greenaway, want to big up Sister Cora Bennett this evening. Sister Ann Farrell Smith, Gwyneth Morrishaw, my baby girl there. Everything good? Well, we're going to start off earlier part this evening, you know. We're going to get right into the clips and hit you with the boom bam this evening. We're going to hit you with the boom bam because we're down the road with these clips this evening. We're taking them in order and we're making sure that the information that we produce are the facts and the facts only. And I want you to think for yourself. And let's follow the money. Let's follow the money this evening. So we're going to start off with clip number 1. This is a clip from Sister Hazel Brandy Williams, who presented a budget sometime back in, I understand, 2021, which you will find out that at the time, Baby Brantley supported what was said. So let's just listen to this clip and let this one sink in, right? This is first clip for the evening.
Utilize this space, and so they have come back with a revised plan. Mr. President, my figures from the persons at finance as well as the project manager is showing us that the amount paid out to contractors and subcontractors so far amounted to $6.853 million. There is an additional amount of another $6.218 million remaining for the contractors and subcontractors. And this amount includes variation. Because remember I said earlier, I gave you what the initial plan was, and now we have come back with an almost, well, six additions to the new building. And so indeed there will be variations. What I can say to you, Mr. President, and based on the figures that I've been given, we have now used $14.218 million out of the $19 million allocated for this project. It means then, Mr. President.
Okay, so you guys heard that clip? That is the former junior minister, Sister Hazel Brandy Williams, who have gave a summary of some $14 million that was spent on the new hospital wing expansion there, the Alexandria Hospital in Nevis. I want you to follow the clips this evening. Let's follow the clips, because we're going to see where there's Baby Brantley trying to change history now. You're going to flip, you're going to try to make a 6 into a 9. Just follow the money, follow the clips. That is Sister Hazel Brandy Williams presenting her budget in 2021, I understand. Now, a reporter during some kind of broadcast, Brother Brantley spoke with a reporter. And by speaking with that reporter, he confirmed the numbers that Ms. Williams produced. So listen to David Brantley responds to the questions from the person during that program.
Like, no secret that right now there is a hospital project going on, but we've seen that it's incomplete. And not only that it's incomplete, it is, you know, I think it's behind and it's definitely over budget. So we would like to know, well, what are some of the issues?
Correct one aspect of your Ira. The hospital is not over budget.
It's not over
It
budget.
is behind, but it's not over budget. And I think our junior Minister of Health spoke to that eloquently in the last budget debates in the House in December. She broke it down. She explained what the budget was and how much has been spent thus far.
Okay,
so at this point, it is not over budget.
Remind us at this point. Do you remember those figures?
I believe that the number that she spoke to was somewhere in the region of 15 million or thereabouts. And I think she said that some 13 million has been spent thus far. But she did speak publicly on it in the budget debate.
So technically,
yes.
15, 13 million, do we see it completing within budget? 2 million, you think?
Well, we will have to spend some extra money. Yes. Okay. But at this point, I'm saying at this point, it is incorrect to say that the hospital is over budget because we've not yet even exhausted the initial amount.
I take that back. I take that part back. But what are some of the issues where we see why it's behind then? Well, if we have already budgeted for it.
First of all, it seems to me that in the ongoing discussion that people forget that we had 2 years of COVID. Mm-hmm. And I know that it is not popular for people to talk about.
You see, COVID is always the go-to conversation when you catch these people in their lives and you get them into why things were not done. COVID, we've been out of COVID for some time, you know. And even during COVID, the money was still coming from the federal coffers into NIA. You heard the farmer had says over 400 or 500 million is sent across there. You know. You heard the hack spoke about those millions. And those federal funds need to be investigated to see where the people money went. Because if in fact, what I am hearing is so, this integrity in public life and freedom of information and all of these things as part of the good governance agenda, I look forward to these things coming to fruition because you remember what John B. said, somebody got in jail. You remember what the fella, the baby Brantley tell the farmer had, the new jail you're building over Estridge, you might end up getting a chance to sit in there. These people, this project we're talking about started in 2017, we're in 2023. He says not over budget, but is running behind. But follow the numbers. I want you to listen to our new junior minister making a presentation last week. And she says she have her receipt, you know. So if she have her receipts, she must know what she's talking about. I'm not going to fight with them about who wrong or who right. All I'm presenting to you is what they have presented to the general public. So I am the messenger. I take up the responsibility to bring the message to you folks at home, in the region, and in the diaspora. Because some people seem to be drinking that blue Kool-Aid. And no matter what these government ministers do wrong, as long as they're beneficial to them, their members and friends of their family benefiting, to hell with the country. But all of us should be concerned about what we are hearing. And I want you to listen to this segment from the new junior minister. First taste at budget debate. And she's telling you that she got everything in order, she have her receipts. So let's listen to our junior minister.
Completing the interior is of the highest priority to our administration. That is why $12 million, Madam President, would have been allocated in this budget to ensure its timely completion. And Madam President,
Some would have you believe that we've blown through the initial $19 million estimate with no hospital to show for it. As Minister Evelyn indicated, Madam President, we like facts on this side. As the young people say, we have our receipts. So, Madam President, to date, we have spent $8,342,443.76 out of the initial $19 million budgeted. We would have only spent $8,342,443.76 out of the initial $19 million budgeted. So when you hear talks of over budget, I want the House to have the official figures on record, not those imagined.
Okay, so that is our new Junior Minister of Health, who in the background presenting a budget, and you could hear Baby Brantley and his team in the back there cheering her on because she have her receipts. The figures are correct, right? That is what they're in the background saying. This is during Parliament, during the NIA budget last week. At no time did Baby Brantley, the Premier, and his team stop the Junior Minister and told her she have the wrong figures. They was in the back cheering, beating table, making nice, celebrating. Everything was correct because she have her receipts, and her receipts was factual. Now I want us to listen to the next clip. This is where the party start. We're going down Cox.
Our new Minister of Health, she came and in her presentation, she would have sought to update the public on some expenditure at the hospital wing, the expansion project. And we recognize that there's been a bit of uncertainty created because she gave a number of, I think, somewhere just over $8 million. And the previous Minister of Health had come, I believe it was in 2021, and given a number which was closer to $14 million. So that's a significant difference in terms of how much has been spent. I have asked that that discrepancy be resolved. The information that has come now suggests that perhaps both figures were incorrect. And I will undertake that we will have a full number available to the public as soon as we can. And the reason that I do not have it today, Madam President, is because we have been advised that we have been affected adversely by the cyber attack that we had. And so some of the numbers, I'm told, they have to retrieve manually, and which has created a bit of a difficulty in us getting it for today, because I wanted to.
Now, you hear the Baby Brantley? The Baby Brantley previously supported what his former Junior Minister reported. Some 14 million spent on the hospital already. His new Junior Minister of Health saying it's 8. They cheered her on. They celebrated. And they said she have her receipts. And they tried to bury Sister, the Honorable Janice Daniel, in the NIA during the budget debate. But so far, it's a seesaw. Let me hear what Baby Brantley have to say in his next clip, because somebody got in jail. If this good governance agenda that has been imposed in the Federation have the teeth and the people to do their work, somebody got in jail for the people money, you know. These are federal funds we're talking about. This ain't nobody donating something at a little sports club across the road. This is the people's money. And these folks that decide to take up public office, whether it's Premier, Minister of Tourism, whatever you all want to do, you all have to spend the people money properly. You cannot come and tell me in 2021, the report of 14 million was what it is. And you're going to come in 2023 to tell me that those figures was wrong. I didn't verify. That does not fly. Not in this mathematical world we have today. So, Baby Brantley, as we continue, let's go.
In terms of the additional cost to the budget, I don't want to misspeak. I believe that the numbers I saw were just over $500,000 US that the cost was. So the additional work to get where we need to be at the Alexandra Hospital. The consultants, I'm aware, have been on island. I don't know if they're still here, but certainly they've been here over the past week. And we expect that the contractors are going to be back at work very shortly. Recall that we stopped the work, the shell having been completed, the building having been completed in terms of the exterior. We stopped the work so that we could know that the flow of the interior was exactly what we needed. And so we now have that. We brought the expertise to bear, and we anticipate that the work will resume very shortly. Once that work resumes, we expect to be able to inaugurate that new wing of the hospital by next year, 2022. And we know it's been a while. We know it's been a significant investment thus far, but we think that it will catapult Nevis into the next 20, 30 years in terms of healthcare and our ability to deliver healthcare to our people. So we think that it's an investment that is worthwhile, and that will pay dividends for us down the road.
Now, you understand we're in 2023, and according to Baby Brantley, we were supposed to have use of the new hospital wing in 2022. Well, 2022 has come and gone. 2023 is here, and we're running for 2024. Remember last year I said that I can assure you that hospital will not be ready to be used in 2022. And some people had me to kill. Say, I am harassing the Premier, and why don't I stop harassing the Premier? I am not harassing the Premier. I am doing what they asked me to do. They asked me back in 2015, him, the farmer Hag, and all of them in the concussion. They asked me to support them and hold their foot to the fire. Whether I support them or not, I've been in observation mode. And I have been observing for some time. All I'm bringing to you is the things that they have been saying, but they are not consistent with their reporting. So it's up to you, the people, whether you want to continue to cuss Morrishaw for bringing the facts, or who you're not paying, by the way. Are you going to hold the people that has been paid by the taxpayers, by your dime, to do the right thing? Well, it didn't stop there, you know. When you think the markup fella finished with his lies and have redeemed himself and tried to put things in good order, well, a reporter asked him a question on behalf of whether Devon Cornelius at the press conference. And he find it natural to again mislead and start cussing Devon, say that Devon is an operative or a member of the NRP. What does Devon being a member of the NRP have to do with the situation at the hospital? We're talking about the finance and the work and the status of the hospital. Everybody can be a member of Labour, everybody can be a member of FROM, everybody can be a member of CCM. So because Devon might be a member of the NRP, he cannot ask a question. That's what you're trying to tell me, but you know, as a matter of fact, you know, I got to officially send my communication to the chairman, Brother Hensley Daniel, because if NRP continue on the road that they're going, the good governance thing, I definitely want to be a part of the NRP, because I believe in the good governance thing. So let me drop this one here, this final clip here with the markup fellow, Baby Brantley. This one was his response to the questions from the reporter and his response.
Devon Cornelius at WinFM. He asks, what caused the discrepancy in figures for the amount spent on the Alexandra Hospital expansion project, and what steps are being taken to determine the exact amount?
This young Cornelius has asked about the Alexandra Hospital discrepancy in figures. I did explain that when I spoke at the Nevis Island Assembly in our budget debates, that there appears to have been some error on the part of both ministers, I'm told. That is, the former minister, Hazel Brandy Williams, would have given some figures when she spoke in the last budget, I believe it was in 2021. And our new Minister of Health, the Honorable General Nisbet, would have given a different figure when she spoke on the recently concluded budget address. I have apologized, and I do so again, because we are a government that prides ourselves in giving accurate information. But I also say that those who now criticize must also recognize how government functions. I, for example, come here before you all the time and give numbers and statistics that I have not myself verified. What I say that to say is that I am handed numbers and statistics by technocrats, whether they be in the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Agriculture, or elsewhere. And we as ministers rely on what we are given. And so clearly, numbers would have been given which have turned out to be incorrect. And I'm told that both numbers were incorrect. I have asked for full report on the matter just this morning because I anticipated that this question would come. I had an exchange with Minister General Nisbet, and she said that they are working to put every penny that was spent together so that we would have an accurate tally to share with the public. We were unfortunately delayed in doing that because, again, of the cyber attack. And they're telling me that they had to go to manual receipts and manual documents in order to tally this total. And so we have that differential that still exists. I have given my commitment in the House, and I now give my commitment here, that as soon as we have the accurate figure, we'll bring that figure to the public. It appears, based on what I gathered, that the numbers that were given by the former Minister of Health, there was apparently a scrivener's error. And what should have been 600,000 was written down as 6 million, which clearly led to a distortion of that figure. And then in relation to the figure that was given by our new minister, I'm told that some amounts were left out of that figure. And so both numbers were wrong, and I have apologized. I do so again now, and I give the commitment that we will come with the appropriate figure once that number is in hand. I would not wish to come and hazard any guesses and to give any further figure which turns out to be inaccurate. So please bear with me. Mr.
You know, I have said time and time again, we now know of some of the wrongdoings and the corruption that was taking place in St. Kitts. Why we got that information? Because there was a change of government in 2022, on August 5th, 2022. That is how we know. I have said time and time again, with all that happening in the island of Nevis, the only time we're going to get to the facts is when there's a change of government. And if by now we have not seen and heard enough from this gentleman to know that the dishonesty continues, the misdeeds continues, then something's really wrong with us. And for those of you who might have a problem with me trying to bring the information to the general public, I don't have a problem with you having a problem with me, But if you have a problem with me bringing these facts, that is from those people. These same people out there have their programs, maligning other people, creating diversion, trying up smoke screens, trying to keep you all busy, looking at nonsense while they're over there doing wrong. Then something is wrong with you all. I am not in government. I am not being paid by taxpayers. The information I'm bringing here is from what they say, from their mouth. And you should be concerned about what is happening because they're very inconsistent. We need to know what went on with the over 500 or over 400 million that the farmer have said he sent over to the NIA. Those are federal funds. Why the big discrepancy in 2 years? He supported what was reported in 2021 as the correct figure. So if you supported what was reported in 2021 as the correct figures, you come in 2023, you give a different figure. And now you're saying both figures was wrong in 2023? Come on, man, then all you need to resign. All you need to remove. You're all not capable of running an island, our country. But you know something? Judge, I see you all are coming, so I'm going to drop this one for you. Judge, I see you all are coming. Yeah, Jaja sure see them coming. And, you know, it's amazing what we are dealing with there in the sister island of Nevis. But we're going to switch gears a bit. I know I said I'm going to go to the AG, our Attorney General there in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis at the top of the hour at 7. But I am very pleased that he is an on-time student. He is with us a bit early, and I look forward to that. He's been long overdue for him to join us here on this platform. AG, could you please tap your screen and open your mic? Thank you. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the platform, and the online viewership are hungry, waiting for you for some months now. So I must say to you, congratulations on your appointment. I support it wholeheartedly, and I know that you are capable of bringing some good riddance to our federation. But AJ, if you can just introduce yourself, give a quick synopsis of who you are, and we get right into the conversation.
Good evening, Mr. Morrishaw. It's a pleasure for me to be on your show. I know we had a discussion when you were here a few months back, and I promised that I would be on, and the day has finally come. Thank you for having me. Good night to all of your listeners and viewers. I am a Kittitian, born, raised from Bastia. My mother grew up in St. Paul's. My father grew up in Bastia. I'm a proud Kittitian. I was educated elsewhere when I traveled with my mother around the region for her work, and I returned home. I've been home for the last 13 years, and I feel like I'm doing my public service now. I truly believe in country above self. So when the call was made upon me to come out of private practice by the Prime Minister, I answered the call. And I feel that this is my time to give back because I love my country.
Well said, brother AG. And I've been bragging about you, because you're saying you're from Bastia. Tell them a St. Paul's you're from, At St. Paul's, I grew up with your mother, Dawn.
Yes, so, yes. So you knew my grandmother then?
Yeah, man. At St. Paul's, we're all from. So,
yes.
Nurse Williams and all of these people that work around at the health center there. I was a very sick child in my younger days, so I had to spend a lot of time between the health center around the corner and the Paxton Hospital. So I'm quite familiar with your mom. So, but man, there's been some trying time, and I mean, all day I am getting, well, not just today, but I've been getting many questions coming from citizens around the globe about what's happening in the Federation. They hear this, they hear that, they hear that. So I know we're not going to be able to get into everything this evening. But for the interests of the people at home and overseas, I would start with, if no objection, the tabling of those bills that took place last week in the Parliament, if we can have some conversation on those and where we are with them and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I'm very proud of the legislation that was tabled last week, Wednesday, a week ago, and debated, and have now been passed into law. When I took office in August, one of the first things that I was sent to do was to draft and meet with the Integrity Commission to draft amendments to what we call the good governance legislation, the foundation legislation for that. So I met with the Integrity Commission, I believe in early September, after having discussions with them even in late August. And we had a long meeting, a very productive, healthy meeting with the Integrity Commission in St. Kitts and the one in Nevis. And we kind of discussed how the current legislation was inadequate to deal with what it was intended to do. So one of the things they told me was Integrity in Public Life Act would cover around 1,400 people. And it's a commission of 3 people, a staff of only maybe 3 more. And it would have been a little onerous on them to be able to have to process all of these declarations, because the declarations are really the assets and liabilities of all the public officials that were listed in the 2013 Act. So one of the things I told them is I was looking at a St. Lucia legislation called the Special Prosecutor Bill, and that was really an anti-corruption bill that covered the whole civil service. And if we dealt with the whole civil service, then we could carve out the most senior members of the civil service, public officers, to submit declarations. And that way, the Integrity in Public Life Act could deal with around 200 people, and the Anti-Corruption Act could deal with the whole of the civil service. And then we also discussed the Freedom of Information Act, and I met with the Press Association, and we discussed a couple changes, and there were some errors in the original act that was passed in 2018. So we fixed those errors. We solidified it based on the discussions with the Press Association, and we believe we have a sensible Freedom of Information Act. So we just think that those 3 acts are the pillars of good governance. It really gives access to the general public by way of the Freedom of Information Act. And it gives confidence to the general public that there will be no more corruption and using power for private gain within government. And this is not just for now, this is a long-standing situation. As I said, it'll be very hard for a parliament or new government to go into parliament and try to repeal these legislation, because people have been clamoring for them for quite a while. We've brought them within 6 months, and we're giving the people what they want, because at the end of the day, when you have a clear mandate, as the party had in this last election, you have to meet the expectations of the people. And one of the calls and one of the promises was to bring this good governance legislation. So we're very proud of it. The team is fully behind it. We're going to educate the civil service over the next few weeks about it, and we're going to fully implement it and try to, well, we hope that this will bring a change to the way government is done in our federation.
Appreciate that, Brother AG. I know I've been listening to you guys in Parliament for some time, and I've been hearing about the teeth in the law that folks can see action. Because even up to today, someone called me and telling me about, we've been hearing about this teeth and about all the wrong that was done and nobody been arrested. And I had to remind them. I said, I'm not sure of the month it took place, but while I was in the Federation, I understand there was an attorney and someone get arrested in regards to some ongoing investigation. So if you can give a quick synopsis of these laws, they're implemented, but how will they be reinforced? How will they be used?
Well, first of all, let's talk about teeth. The Integrity in Public Life Act was passed by the previous Labor administration in 2013. In 2017 and 2018, the Team Unity government set up the office. So in other words, they appointed the commissioners and they gave them some money to set up the office and go get running. But they never set the dates upon which to file declarations. So if you can have all the office you want, but if the office cannot actually get the declarations, there's nothing for the office to do. So what we have done is we have actually, in the new legislation, set a date, July 31st. The senior public officials in St. Kitts and Nevis, the federal ones in Nevis, will have to submit declarations. And then the Integrity Commission will then actually work. So that is the teeth that we gave to the Integrity Commission by way of the amendment. In terms of the special prosecutor, we've set up an office. It's a special prosecutor that is charged with receiving complaints about corruption. So it's basically the watchdog office. That is a lot of teeth, because that person operates really under the purview of the Integrity Commission and the DPP. And that person's specific job is to receive complaints and to investigate. So I know we have no intention to do anything untoward like that. But anybody else who feels that they can or can continue to do that, the special prosecutor will be watching. So that's a lot of teeth. And what that act does even more, it actually makes specific offenses for types of corruption. There were some existing offenses in the common law as well in legislation that cover certain types of corruptions. There was some in the Integrity in Public Life Act, but it didn't cover a lot of the different types of corruption. So for example, I don't know if you remember the debate last week that was raised by the Premier about gifts. He felt that the section, the corrupt offenses section dealing with gifts was not clear enough. So what we did was, it was a good argument. We said, you know what, let's leave that out, and then we'll thrash it out and talk about it some more, look at some other options for gifts, and then we can put it back in by way of amendment. Those are the types of, clauses that really give the special prosecutor teeth. And the freedom of information, I mean, at the end of the day, I believe you live in New York, right, Mr. Morrishaw? Yeah,
New York and St. Paul's, eh? Don't
New
leave
York
out
and St. Understood. You could submit a request for information to a ministry. It's been, there are certain exceptions, certain sites of confidential information should not be disclosed. But typically, if you want to find out certain information, you can make that request to the information officer or to the information commissioner. And that gives them teeth. The information commissioner has teeth to then actually provide information. If you don't get it, you can go to the court. You know, so there are lots of options to, you know, it's about transparency and accountability. It's really about, you know, making sure that we do things the right way. We really want to try and create a change in the Federation. And I think that is what is shocking a lot of the old school politicians. They are so accustomed of things being a certain way. And this group of young, energetic ministers and cabinet, we want to do things a different way. And it really is causing a shock. That is why you hear all of this, you know, gossip and you know, WhatsApps and Facebooks and all of those things, trying to distract from the good we're trying to do. And I can tell you, you know, nobody is the only perfect being is the Lord and Jesus, right? Nobody's trying to be Jesus, but we're trying to make a better country. All of us, you know, have children, and we want to see a better country for our children. I'm pleased to say, if you'd allow me to, I just came from inter-school sports, and my daughter won under-9 long jump, and she came third in the 150 meters. So I'm a very proud father. And when I go to events like that, you see a lot of proud Kittitian parents with their children. You just really you want to have a better life, a better government for the next generation. And that's really what we're trying to do. The PM is believe me, he's a man of his word, and he has a vision. As I said, I've told people, I've known him since I was 14 years old. So I've known him for 26 years. So I know he's a good man, deep down, and I really think he has the best interest of the country at heart, and all of us do.
Definitely. And by the way, I'm glad your daughter, congratulations. But remember that St. Paul's talent, eh?
It's in the blood.
It's in the blood. That's, you know, St. Paul's a very talented community.
Yeah,
so.
St. Paul's primary wins. I think they won the last couple of years.
Yep. So very talented folks we have over there. Brother AG, I do not know if I said it at the top of the conversation, but permit me to say it before we move on. One of the thing I love about you, you and I have some history, and I respect you for that, because you have always been upfront and honest with me, with your responses when I ask a question. But is your accessibility as the new Attorney General of St. Kitts Nevis? There was an Attorney General there for 7 years, and I'm still waiting for my return phone call.
No comment. I mean, so, you know, that is, can I be frank with you?
Sure.
I'm not a politician, Mr. Morrishaw. I am not. I had no intention of sitting in the office in like what I do. I'm a lawyer, I like being a lawyer. But as I said, I've known the Prime Minister for so long. And he really, during the campaign, he really inspired me with some of the things that he said. And my heart just moved towards playing a more important role in seeing that vision through. And I am just, I am what I am. What you see is what you get. I'm one of those kind of people. And I believe in, as an outsider, somebody who is very new to this, I just believe in accessibility and being open, and we had I'll tell you, one of the best things that somebody has said to me is that we had a kind of for Valentine's in the Attorney General's office, we all put together our own money, chipped in, and had a little luncheon at the office. And while we were there, we tried to build team spirit and so forth at the office. We had a spin the bottle and say what you think about the person. So you spin the bottle, it lands on the person, and you say what you think about the person. And one of the counsel in the office spun it, and it came on me. And that's a bit uncomfortable. I'm the Attorney General, and this is a counsel in the office. And she said, AG, I just like how open your dialogue is, and how you try to explain complex issues in a simple way so that the general person, everybody can understand. And that, I really felt that in my heart. Because that is what I try to do. I really don't even know that I don't know why they're attacking me like this, Mr. Morrishaw. I really don't know. I'm never going to have to run against anyone because I have no intention to do that. So I'm not sure why all the constant attacks and the bad mind and the defamation and all those things are happening, because I'm just a normal person. And some of these people who are doing it are people who have smile and have had conversations with, and they know who I am. It's just the politics is just, boy, something else.
Partner, I can say to you is that I have felt some of that beating over the last couple of years since I've been trying to speak about the wrong that was taking place under the previous administration. As a matter of fact, there was a WhatsApp video that went wild sometime there last year, accusing me of all kind of manner of evil, which I know that people will talk, but you, the individual, must know who you are, because you cannot stop people from speaking.
Yeah.
And all I can say to you is not to let them deter you from the mission you're on, because no matter what anyone say about me, my past is my past. I'm not perfect, but I know I'm going to do good for the betterment of my country, my communities, and for my people that I come into contact with, and nobody going to deter me from that. When I got your number, I actually got your number from Dwyer Astafan, and I want to thank him for that. And when he sent the number to me, he gave me the assurance that you are approachable. But he did not know I know you before. I just did not have a number for you.
Yes,
and I know that you're approachable because I have spoken to you in other regards, and you was honest and straight up with me and stuff like that. And I respect you and thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
The position that you're in, I had to defend you so many times over the last couple of weeks, because if you had listened to my program a couple of weeks back with this session of whatever taking place in Nevis with those electoral issues, I was one who was speaking against the strikeout matter, because I know that things, just as I was on the front line and in the gutter for democracy in St. Kitts during the 2022 federal elections, I was the same in Nevis. And when there was attacking, I said, I cannot believe that I fight for a government who has now installed an AG that is going to condone those kind of stuff. And it was nice speaking with you, and I appreciate you assuring me that you are the Attorney General of St. Kitts Nevis for all parties and for all citizens of St. Kitts Nevis. So I am confident that you will do what is right and follow the law. I have no doubt in that. The people that are going to attack these fake pages, I mean, they had said we had until 2025 for the next election. Maybe they're trying to say if they could shorten the life of the labor. And you being one of the individuals that are going to push these laws, they figure that they can weaken you. But just hold straight and be strong, because it's only you can destroy yourself. If I used to let pressure and stuff on social media faze me, I would have run away a long time ago. And I'm here for the long haul. So, Brother AG, as we go into the next segment, I mean, and feel free to jump in anyway and let me know anything that I'm missing that you would like to discuss, you know, because there's so much to discuss. We won't be able to do it all this evening. But one thing I would like you, if you can speak on it, I know that one of the big issues during my time of the Get Rid of Them campaign was the hush puppy matter. And when you question the former hog, by the way, the former head of government, that's what we call him, the hog.
I won't go there with you.
Anyway, I'm just saying to you, the former head of government, we call him hog for short, right? So I want you to know who I'm speaking about. During the press conference with the former commissioner of police, he said that the investigation was ongoing and they would get back to us. I understand that sometime after you took office, you found out that the investigation really was not taking place. Things was on a hold. I don't know if you're in a position to update us on that, because the folks online are very much so concerned about the status of that case.
Yeah. Well, when I came to office, really that was not brought to my attention. When it was brought to my attention, I then asked about it. And I found out that the file, the MLAT request was prepared since September 2021. and it just was not processed. And when I say MLAT, that's a mutual legal assistance program. So, you know, different countries, when they need information from another country in order to finalize a prosecution, they make these requests, they say what laws are broken, etc., etc. So we request the information from another state. And then when they get that information, the police then can then finalize the investigation. So that was not done. We did it. And we are waiting. Once it comes back, it's in the police's hands. That's not something for the office to do. The only thing that the only part the office, the AGO, plays in it is actually preparing the MLAT. I signed it and it's sent off. And we see where it goes from there. I mean, I know who the persons are that are named, but that is for the police to investigate. I just did what I had to do, which is sign off on it, check it, make sure everything was in order, and discuss with the investigator to make sure that everything was in the document, and I signed off on it. It's really just, our role is just administrative to make the request. The police do everything else, because at the end of the day, the AGO doesn't deal with prosecutions. The police investigate, and the DPP's office prosecutes. And with relation to the anti-corruption initiative, the special prosecutor can investigate, the special prosecutor can engage the police to investigate, and the special prosecutor then reports to the Integrity Commission and the DPP. So our office does not have any prosecutorial powers.
Okay.
I hope that's clear.
Yeah. There's someone online said we would like to know about the monies that was sent to Nevis. And that was going to be one of my questions, but I guess this person is preempting me with it. You spoke about the federal ministers in regards to the anti-corruption you spoke about in the new governance agenda. Does that cover the federal funds? This laws, does it cover the federal funds that go across to
all funds, all government monies? So anything that is done, at the essence of it, anything you use your power for personal gain, that covers a full gamut of things, is covered by the Anti-Corruption Act, and it applies federally. So the integrity, Nevis has its own integrity commission, St. Kitts has its own integrity commission, and then the Anti-Corruption Act, so the offenses and so forth, span St. Kitts and Nevis.
At the federal level?
Federal level.
What about the local island administration?
In terms of what?
In terms of those laws that we just spoke about.
Yeah, they apply. They apply to the NIA, yeah.
Okay.
They apply to officers in the NIA. So for example, if a customs officer in the NIA's customs takes a bribe, for example, and somebody reports it, the special prosecutor can investigate and can prosecute.
Very refreshing, very encouraging news from me, and the folks online here are very active here.
It wasn't, you realize it wasn't opposed by the opposition members from Nevis, because as they said, how could they oppose an anti-corruption act that applies federally when they led the way in terms of the Integrity Commission in Nevis, because they have been filing declarations, I think maybe 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah, well, declaration can be filed, but it's about enforcing those declarations and making sure that they are adequate. And I'm going to make a statement. You don't have to respond to it if you don't think it's fitting for you, because like I am aware you're Attorney General for everyone, but we are faced with a situation right now. Just recently, there was a budget given in 2021 with the status of the hospital wing at the Alexandria Hospital.
I heard you talking about that when I was waiting.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of that, actually.
You wasn't aware? Okay. So there was an amount that was given by the former junior minister, Miss Brandy, of 14 million spent at the time. And just last week, the new junior minister is reporting 8 million something. And then the premier came out now and a couple of days later and said that the figures that was given by the junior minister and the previous one was wrong, but they supported it all these 2 years. And now it has to be investigated. And I have a problem with someone investigating their own self. I do not know how you feel about that.
But that's why the special prosecutor office is there.
Okay. You know something? My birthday was on the 15th of February. You gave me a birthday gift late, but thanks for the birthday gift. Because, and
you're an Aquarius.
Yeah, man. Right after Valentine's. So I'm a very loving person, but at the same time, very inquisitive. And as soon as you have the number, a WhatsApp number or a contact number for that Freedom of Information office, if you can shoot it to me, because we're going to be best of friends. I have a lot of...
You have a lot of requests.
requests.
You know what's so funny? Somebody I know very well said to me, say, I am going to be the first to make a request as soon as the information commissioner is set up. And I just thought it funny. It's like almost people waiting in the wings, waiting.
I don't think they will beat me if you get me in the information early enough. I think I'll be the first one to.
We plan to do, the AGO plans to lead a public education campaign. You know, we have to be fair to civil servants. We have to be fair to public officials. We have to be fair to the public. We want to educate everyone on how these processes work and what you need to do to be the teeth. You know, how to access, who to communicate with. We don't want a lot of questions. So we're going to try to do as much public education as possible, teaming up with the Integrity Commission, who is really like the, you know, overarching body that overlooks this good governance agenda. And I just want people to know, and your listeners to know, we are very, very serious about this as a government. You know, you realize we didn't waste any time. That means it's high on the agenda. The promise was made in the manifesto. And one Minister Medad made a joke during Parliament. He said, I remember when the AG came to one of our first cabinets with the manifesto, I said, but you have hired me. You have hired me, and this is the promises you made to the people. So I assume that the manifesto is the guidebook, and it has been thus far. I think that's some of the things that the Prime Minister will talk about. I don't know if you saw the advertisement. He's a special interview tomorrow. And you know, it's been 6 months, so it's time to tell people what we've been doing. I think all of the ministers have been pretty open with what they've done, what meetings they've been to, what is in the pipeline. We can't work miracles in 6 months, but I can tell you we have some really good things in the pipeline that I think will bring benefit to all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah, Mr. AG, I don't know how much time you have, but there's 2 questions I'm going to want you to answer before you leave, if possible. And I don't want you to go there yet. I just want to give you the heads up that I would like you to speak to the elections, the electoral office for St. Kitts and Nevis and the process, but we're going to leave that for the end. What I would like you to speak to, if possible. I sat in Parliament for the first time in my life just a few months ago. I think it's the final day of the budget debate in Parliament, my first visit, and I listened to you. And you might not have seen it, but when I heard your report, tears came to my eyes with some of the stuff you were saying, some of the corrupt acts that was taking place. Are you in a position to give the viewers online some information of those things you was reporting?
You know, I prefer the Prime Minister do that. You know, you see, I think people confuse my role. What I've been tasked to do, because I take instructions, right? I'm hired by the government to advise them. So if we are saying, listen, we want anti-corruption, we want good governance, we have to tell people what was there before that we're trying to fix.
All right.
You're not gonna get buy-in from the people if they don't know what you're trying to fix. So what I spoke about is breaches of the Procurement Act. And what we are trying to do is to the next level of the good governance is that we're going to work on a Procurement Act that works, because a lot of the issues and a lot of the wastage from the Treasury is in relation to procurement. Procurement in the government service and lack of procurement from the statutory corporations. You know, so we're going to tidy that up. And that will also bring some structure. We're going to deal with the Public Accounts Committee. We're going to deal with whistleblowers. We're going to implement the NATA Act, which is in relation to what types of roles public officers and civil servants can play in politics while they're civil servants. And the court has already said what is required in the NATA case. So we're going to venture into drafting that so that there's clarity. And we just want to bring clarity, you know, what the do's and don'ts. You know, at some point with the anti-corruption, good governance legislation, we're going to do a do's and don'ts list so that, you know, you don't want to, nobody sits down and reads all these laws, but you want them to understand the main points.
Yeah, smart synopsis.
Yeah. So I mean, for budget, I was explaining. I did two things. I explained what was happening before, the issues we need to resolve. The way we resolve that is by way of legislation and action, right? And then the second was why the AGO, in its mission to bring this structure to the country, needs the resources, because my office was under-resourced. And the AGO is the engine of government. Everything passes through it, you know, almost like finance as well. Finance, most things pass through finance, most things pass through the AGO. So you have to have two strong offices to support the operations of government. So that was my goal in Parliament, to explain what was going wrong, what we need to fix. I don't know why people keep thinking that I am the person who decides who gets prosecuted or not. That's not my job. My job is to educate. My job is to advise the government and to lead the way in certain types of laws like the good governance agenda. That is why I presented them, because the Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs and the Attorney General should be the person that presents these sorts of laws that change the culture of government.
Thank you for that response. As a matter of fact, that is why I said I would leave the other two for later, because I have to keep explaining to folks about the Prime Minister and the AGs, not the persons that run the election, is the Electoral Commission and whatever. But since I'm not being paid for those advice, I will let you do that part. But before we go there, as recent as today, I received a phone call about the status of the amount of monies that been paid to the peace program and the status of that program at this time. Can you speak to that?
No, the Prime Minister will speak to that.
Okay. So I know you're online listener for that question. The Prime Minister will speak to that particular question you asked me to.
That is high level.
Ask the AG in regards to the peace program. As I told them, I said I will ask the questions as they present them. But
yes, I have no problem with the questions. Yeah. No problem. I'll just say what I'm able to answer and what I'm not.
Correct, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we go into the electoral situation, as I said, and permit me if I'm long-winded, because I am not good at you guys just putting words together. I like to present myself where you could understand where I'm coming from.
That doesn't seem so, but go ahead. You seem quite competent at putting words together, but let's hear what you have to say.
Well, under the previous administration, the democracy to me was at risk, you know, and I am one that started the fight here at the mission in New York, where at the time the Patrick fellow was our ambassador to the UN. And my real effect, my fight came into real effect when those 3 citizens was arrested for carrying a placard and folks were tear gassed. I understand that model cop matter has been resolved. I'm not sure how true is that, but that is where my fight started about democracy and human rights in the Federation. And before going any deeper into it, if you can give us an update where that is at, I know you might not be the person to speak to, but that is where my fight started, when these folks was arrested and tear gas.
I actually have no idea about those matters. Nobody has ever briefed me about them.
Okay, so something is wrong there, because there's a big gap missing between you and them there, because these citizens that was standing up with a placard that was demonstrating.
I know the incident. I know the incident you're talking about. I remember it. I remember because it was being live streamed, I think, by Model Cop, correct?
Correct. you know.
So the persons were actually charged?
Yes.
I thought I had heard that the charge. Let me not say that, because I haven't heard anything since I took office.
As recent as January, when I left St. Kitts, I inquired about the situation, and one person that was charged is actually from St. Paul's, and I'm still waiting to hear the end result of that matter. I find it to be very unfair, because when the previous administration was there, the Labour Party, those individuals in that same Team Unity concussion, they was all over the place with placards. I understand they reached as far as St. Vincent. So I didn't understand why they could do what they had to do, and now they get into power. People can't stand up with a placard. Anyway, it took me from Manhattan, New York to St. Kitts to do some demonstration and start some work. And as I said to people that reach out to me all the time about what I get and what I didn't get, and I tried to tell them I wasn't looking for anything other than democracy in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. And I am quite happy that I was a part of that team. I was able to bring in Dwyer Stefan and Sam Kanda, Larry Vaughan, Douglas Watley, the Big Lights, the Talk Puppy, everybody that came. As a matter of fact, the Talk Puppy didn't just come in and walk the streets with me. The Talk Puppy actually put funds to assist with what was going on. So all of those people that came on board, I just want to thank them, because without that fight, we would have been here till 2025, maybe going underwater. So I appreciate the hard work of the people, that we could have a new government and an attorney general such as yourself. Now, the questions that keep coming back at me because of my hard work and being upfront on the front line is that, well, Morrishaw was there when the former, his name is the electoral, what do you call electoral office person?
Supervisor of elections.
Supervisor of elections. And you all say he was not good for St. Kitts. And then your prime minister allowed him to go to Nevis and stuff like that. And I try to tell people, the prime minister does not dictate anything about the electoral process. The attorney general does not dictate anything about the electoral process.
That's correct.
Whatever went down in Nevis with the recent case, though it might not fit your party at the time, the Attorney General is the Attorney General for everyone. If the shoe was on the other foot, he would have to do the same. So if you could just explain to the people, because there are folks, you know.
We don't have a how the Constitution sets up the electoral process is that there is a supervisor of elections that is appointed by the Prime Minister after consultation with the Leader of the Opposition. And there's also an electoral commission, which has representation generally from one from the Governor General and one each from the Leader of the Opposition and the Prime Minister. So those are the two organs that control the process. Then you have registration officers and all of the different structures that occur under the National Assembly's Election Act, right? So yes, they are paid, the workers in the electoral office and so forth are administratively paid by the government. They operate independently of the executive. They're part of the executive, but they are an arm that has some autonomy because decisions are made by the Electoral Commission and Supervisor of Elections based on the law. So where people I think get confused that the AGO provides administrative support to the electoral office. So we rent the office. We also deal with their expenses and so forth. We deal with the election expenses. So it's not fully independent, but it is constitutionally has some constitutional independence. What I think we're going to get into, and maybe it's a blessing in disguise that we had 2 elections in 1 year, because that gives us a little breathing room to try and figure out how we're going to proceed with elections going forward. There are different structures that occur throughout the region. There are places in the region that have independent election commissions that get their funding from Parliament, separate from the executive, that have are said to have more independence, and there are other types of structures that we will examine and figure out the best way to go forward and debate it in Parliament as to how we think the best way to go forward. But the Prime Minister does not step down into the realm of the operation of elections, because that will be against most principles of democracy. And, in terms of, we know that there are issues. We know that there are issues. We have to just figure a way to find a bespoke solution to them that suits St. Kitts and Nevis. In relation to the case, Attorney General is in election petitions is sued. Typically the supervisor of elections, the commission, maybe registration officers, like the case in Nevis. We are party. Now, as I had discussed with you, I think when we were talking on 4th Street, people saying, well, why did the Attorney General support the strikeout application? If we didn't, we're litigant in the proceedings. If we just put our hands back, what would people say? People say we were supporting NRP. So to avoid that connection, we have to at the Attorney General's office, there are matters that come that involve political persons that sue the government on both sides. But we are not the office of a party, right? We're the office of the federation. So we have to take positions as a litigant. And we had to take the position, and it just showed that the position was right, that the procedure was not followed properly. And I saw some people, well, I don't know, my name is very easy to call. I'm gonna have to ask my mother to rename me, because I see my name called saying, oh, the AG is against NRP. Why the AG just doesn't just sits back and lets the case, why the AG doesn't sit back and just let the case happen? I mean, what is the office supposed to do? What if the shoe was on the other foot? What would be your argument? You know what I mean? So you have to the office has to act in its best interest as a party to a suit, Yeah,
actually, when we spoke on 4th Street, we were speaking about the good governance agenda and the hush puppy matter. But last week or 2 weeks ago, we spoke via WhatsApp in regards to the strikeout.
Yes,
and,
I know we spoke about that, yes.
Yeah, and basically, like, I came back to my viewers and I said, I cannot get into details. The AG will speak for himself, but based on the explanation I received from the AG, I'm satisfied that he's doing his job as the Attorney General for the Federation and for its people. So for folks to be out there trying to label you and dirty you, I'm not going to be a part of it. And you cannot stop people from speaking. I have always heard people say to me, Morrishaw ignore people because they're going to talk for 9 days and they're done. But they've been talking for 6 months about you and they ain't done yet.
Boy, I don't know why. Up to now, I don't know why.
So, I mean, I know why. I mean, I think you know why, but you don't want to accept the fact that you have a job to do. And since you are the messenger for the government, the office you hold, there are some people that maybe touch up in the time, when the time is right, at the end of these investigations, and they're trying to sidetrack you. I was listening to the Prime Minister then at the final last week, the 22nd, while he was speaking, the farmer hog was cutting him off and whatever, and I heard the Prime Minister say, you're not going to distract me from what I'm saying, I'm going to finish what I'm saying. They're trying to distract you. They're hoping that whatever they throw at you, you forget what your job is. And I am happy that you are staying focused. As a matter of fact, at some point this evening, I will be playing Dwyer's commentary for today. And basically, I think he gave a synopsis and breakdown about some of the things they're attacking you about, which is unfair. Because had it been anyone else, and not just had it been anyone else, we know of many people who has been in situations where they don't do things on time and they catch up and it's done. But no, not once you carry the name God Wilkin, you're not supposed to be afforded that opportunity, just as JefroyMorrishaw. No, he should not be afforded that opportunity because he's JefroyMorrishaw, but other people can. But
can I just talk about that for a little second?
Sure.
Yeah, because I have been so focused on the safe passage of the Anti-Corruption Act the Integrity in Public Life Amendment Act and the Freedom of Information Act, that that was my professional priority. So with all of this noise that was happening, I really didn't address this issue. And I want to address it, if you'll allow me to. You know, I am a registered employee of one domestic employee, right? And I take full responsibility for payment of Social Security contributions in batches and not always on time. But one thing I would tell you, I voluntarily paid all of my Social Security contributions, right? Everyone should pay them on time. I encourage people to pay them on time. And now I pay them in advance, right? And I encourage people either to pay them on time or pay them in advance, right? There was a personal administrative inefficiency that led to the delayed payments. And when I realized, I paid them voluntarily, right? So if there's anything to learn from this situation, right, is pay your Social Security contribution on time or in advance, right? But, you know, this matter was never about late payments, Mr. Morrishaw. On January 7th, 2023, after I made all of my payments, right, at different times, they started these rumors on WhatsApp and on Facebook pages accusing me of all manners of evil. They were so motivated by malice that they created a post with a photograph of a woman I've never seen and said, that is my domestic employee, and attributed a quote to her. You know, I mean, this is how dirty it was, right? And it, you know, certain things were said before then, certain things were said after then. I was told to ignore them. But this one, it actually reached to people in the region. And I was advised, listen, you have to bring suit, because, you know, this is going beyond the typical politics. And that's why I brought suit. But then after all of these things started happening and they doubled down and so forth, after a lot of prayer and deep introspection and discussions with my legal team, even against their advice, they said, listen, you have a very strong defamation case. I said, listen, there are 4 reasons, right, why I can't proceed with this case. 1, the emotional trauma to my family. Let me tell you something, Mr. Morrishaw. On February 4th, a regular caller to one of the talk shows of one of the political operatives actually came to my home when I was not there. My home, demanded to talk to me. When my wife told him I was not home, he demanded to know where I was. When she told him she would not disclose where I was, he proceeded to curse my wife, carry on an aggressive matter, frighten my wife, frighten my young daughter who was present, and it was reported to the police. Litigation is emotionally draining, time-consuming. I have so many national matters of importance to address that fall within the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs and the office. We are trying to really change this federation for the better. If I have to sue every political operative that defames me, I will spend my entire time in office doing that and be distracted, as you had said, right? They will not stop. They will not stop attacking all of us because we're going to continue to do good. And that seems to be their response to us doing good. Right? So I've decided that I'm going to leave these depraved political operatives to their own devices. The 3rd reason, the fake profile pages. I know you know some of them, right? Some of them are disgusting. And some of the worst ones were removed because Facebook finally realized that they were breaching their community standards. I realized some of them pop up. They change their names and they don't have they don't have the friends and the viewership that they used to have. So they comment on the certain pages. But Facebook is onto them and they're going to deal with them. Right? So the ones that originally defamed me are no longer there. Right? And the last thing is, listen, my domestic employee, the lady who takes care of my children, is like family. She's healthy, happy, well paid. We just came from sports all together. This is a woman who lives with me, right? Who I care for. She cares for my kids. She takes care of my kids so well. And she's been brought into this nastiness. Attack me. I'm the one that chose to take a political office. Criticize what I do. Criticize how I do it. Criticize the laws, but don't attack my family. And that is what they've been doing. It's a really nasty game, Mr. Morrishaw, right? And I expect criticism because I'm a public official, right? But keep it at a certain level. Don't go down, don't have people come into my home and threatening my family members. You know what I mean? I'm a human being. And I expect criticism. That's not a problem. I expect public debate. I don't have a problem issue people discussing these things, but keep it out of the family space, right? So right now I'm at peace with my decision. I have moved on. I'm not going to address this again because I have too much hard work to do, right? And I have to choose my battles. It's a tough job, but it's a job I chose to do, right? And my role is to help shaping the sustainable island state by eradicating corruption from our society. It's not a personal role for me. It is a role that focuses on country above self, right? And the implementation of the first elements of the good governance legislative agenda is the first step, right? I mean, that should be, Mr. Morrishaw, that the good governance agenda should be celebrated across the political divide. There shouldn't be any politics in it. All of us should be happy that it's coming. All of us should say, listen, good, it's coming. We're operating under different rules. Let's try to convince the people, whichever party, convince the people that they're the best person to run the country, right? So this old school, petty, nasty politics is just so unfortunate, but it's alive and well in our federation. And I'm a victim of it, right? And I really, it deeply hurts because it's my family they're attacking. As I said, attack me. Leave the innocent people out of it. And they're doing it. Look, I don't know if you realized, I'm sure even though you live in New York, you get all the WhatsApps. You saw how much foolishness went out on last week, Wednesday, the morning of the debate.
Yeah.
Just to distraction tactics.
Yeah.
Why are we as a people like that?
And I get the call all the time. I told them I'm not a paid advisor. Why are they calling me about it?
Why we can't be mature about the way we do our politics? Why, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I'll be glad to listen to what Dwyer's point of view is, because sometimes Dwyer has some great insight. Sometimes he says things I don't agree with, but it'll be good to hear what his viewpoint is. But I mean, my position is I'm done with that. Right? I'm not going to allow them to distract me. They clearly are trying. I mean, they even call for me to resign. Many people, just today, a guy, I used to play cricket, youth cricket for St. Kitts. My opening batsman, I saw him today. And I hailed him up when I was driving to work. And he came by the window. He said, God, listen, don't study them. They're going after you because you're doing good work.
Yeah.
That felt good. Right? I guess maybe if they don't ask for you to resign, you ain't doing a good work. Maybe. But it's just so unfortunate. And they're portraying me to be some criminal, some evil criminal. I can tell you it deeply hurt. But I have the full support of my team, and I have full support of my family, who is first priority for me. And I will continue to try and do the best, because it's not for me, it's for my country. This is my public service time of my life. And it truly is country above self, in my view.
I could imagine it hurt, because like I was saying earlier, I've been down that road for the past 2 years. I've been hit, but more so since the change of government. And even my father sent me a message. He wanted to friend me on Facebook because people telling him how good his son is doing on Facebook. And I told him, I'm not going to accept you as a friend, because the attacks that are going to come at me going to hurt you. I prefer you hear things on the grapevine than for you to come and experience some of the attacks I get. And I could say to you, welcome to my world. Because this is what I've been living for the past 2 years.
Yeah, but it's the amazing thing. I'm just not accustomed to it. I am, I'm just not accustomed to it because I'm new to this. This is not a world that I'm accustomed to. But I attended the service. I wish you were here because it was a beautiful service last evening for the national day of prayer.
Yeah.
And it was, the pastors were amazing. And one of the things that stuck with me is some people you just have to leave to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Some people you just have to leave to the Lord. And that is going to be my approach. My back is getting broader and broader by the day. My skin is getting thicker and thicker by the day. And it's just part of the job. And trust me, I say this loud and clear, they won't distract me because
I'm happy to hear that.
I plan to do good. I plan to do good. So with this foolishness they're trying to distract everyone with is best ignored.
The chorus line here online from most, if not all of the online viewership is to stay strong. Don't let them distract you. Continue doing your good work. Since you have not heard Dwyer's commentary, it's not long today. It's a very short commentary. And like you said, I don't always agree with everything Dwyer says, but he brings some good information, and I always have my 2 cents to put in where I might disagree. But I think it's important that you hear. So if you could just stand by a minute and take a listen.
Greetings. I wish to thank and commend the Dr. Drew administration on their efforts to establish a proper foundation for the good governance agenda with the passage of legislation last week. I wish also to encourage them to carry the process to completion so that the corruption in public office, which we have seen in the past, will no longer be repeated in this land of ours. Further, I wish to encourage them to stick to their word that fair and thorough investigations will continue and that the legislative and administrative machinery that is being put in place will be allowed to work without interference and without square pegs being put into round holes. And we want all of these things to happen so that those who have abused public office and betrayed the public trust will be made to face justice. Those who have used the money and other resources of the government and people for personal and private gain will face justice. And those who, while in public office, have perpetrated white-collar and other crimes and acts of injustice against the people of this country will face justice. This is not about personalities, and it is not about vengeance. Rather, it is about justice and good governance. They make for a more efficient and a happier and more successful society. So why would we not choose that over corruption? It would be self-defeating to continue choosing or allowing corruption. It would be self-defeating. And wherever the truth leads, however far back into the past it may reach, then so be it. You, the people, need to know. And when you find out and your eyes are opened to the atrocities that have been perpetrated against you, that cloud that has been hanging over this country, that dark cloud will be replaced by the light of knowledge and enlightenment, never again to be extinguished. When you get to that point, which hopefully will be soon, because the information has to come out, no longer will you allow yourselves to be robbed of $100+ million a year through corruption. And you will now realize that every dollar that corruption costs the government is a dollar stolen from you. A dollar stolen from you to make a public servant or his or her relative or friend rich or richer. Imagine what $100 million a year could do for you, your children, your loved ones, your country. Health, education, infrastructure, housing, better opportunities. It opens up a world of opportunity and hope. And this seems to be the direction where we're headed. And this is what I'm praying for. And what has been done so far in this regard has really given me a sense of hope that at last we are on the right track. And if my prayer is not answered and my hopes are dashed to the ground, then we put on our battle gear and we go again. We cannot allow any more corruption to taint and hold back this country from achieving its potential and hold back our people from having better lives. But while I advocate and agitate on behalf of the public, and will continue to do so without fear or favor, without affection or ill will, once the Almighty Lord allows me to do so, it is only right for me also to advocate on behalf of public officials against whom unfair efforts are being made, efforts to discredit them and to bring them into disrepute. What follows here is my opinion, and my opinion only, expressed of my own free will, after careful examination and reflection. It has to do with Mr. Garth Wilkin, presently the Attorney General. Prior to becoming Attorney General, he owed Social Security money in relation to an employee of his. He was late in the payments, and he went to Social Security, sorted out the payments. That was the end of the matter. No legal action taken, no legal action necessary. Now, I said this happened before he became Attorney General, but I don't want that to be any distinguishing point in the conversation. He should have paid on time, and that's the end of it. But there are ways of fixing that without having to resort to court. And the Social Security does that every day, indeed. And I'm not making excuses for him. I don't need to, and he doesn't need me to. I am not holding any brief for him either. How many employers, you think, make their payments late? Well, my guess would be in the thousands. Of the 25 to 30,000 people who are said to contribute to Social Security or in Social Security, I would bet you maybe 1,000 employers or more pay late. Some don't pay at all. Not to mention self-employed persons, over 60% of whom I am told do not pay at all. Now, not paying is not the right thing, but not paying doesn't make you a criminal. It doesn't make you unsuitable for public office. If you're late in some payments and you go and fix it, sometimes we're late in paying the bank. Now, that may be a different situation, because contributing on behalf of the employee is extremely, extremely important in the welfare and well-being of the employee, because that, to a large extent, maybe his or her only access to assistance in time of need. But people are late in paying Social Security. And what happened in the case of Mr. Wilkin was not something that stood out like a sore thumb in the annals of Social Security or anywhere else. But someone saw an opportunity in this to create a stir and went into the media and spoke about the matter in very lively terms. Mr. Wilkin took steps to protect his reputation, and he sought a temporary injunction, which he got, with the intent of taking action in defamation against the person. The person went to the court to ask to have the injunction removed, and the court agreed, and it removed the injunction. So the next step now, if this thing was to go forward, was for the substantive matter to be heard as to whether Mr. Wilkin had been defamed or not. And Mr. Wilkin took the decision not to go any further. It does not mean that he stopped believing that he had been defamed. He just chose not to go any further. And this again is also not unusual. Sometimes people decide they're not going to go forward with a case, although they believe that they would have won the case. Meanwhile, with a number of people now excited about this and seeing an opportunity, or what they thought was an opportunity, we heard the call for his resignation, even from the People's Action Movement, which is another story altogether. Let me repeat, Mr. Wilkin should have paid the contribution on time. He did not. Then he went and settled the matter, paid them. No court action taken, no court action necessary. How could that matter rise to the level of justifying the call for his resignation? Really, I mean, really. By no stretch of the imagination does it rise to that level. Meanwhile, I've noticed in recent times an edginess among certain people. And with that edginess, and the edginess has to do with the legislative agenda of the present administration to some extent. And with that edginess, we are seeing efforts to distract the country's attention from the legislative activities and those other administrative and regulatory arrangements that are being made and will continue to be made. And we are seeing efforts by these people who are edgy or others on their behalf to turn mistakes by others into misdeeds and errors into criminal acts. And we are seeing efforts to have you believe that certain people are corrupt and unsuitable for public office. Well, I said to you today, Wednesday, the 1st day of March 2023, Mr. Wilkin should have paid on time. He didn't. He went and settled and paid off the money. How does that reach the level of resignation and corruption? So everybody who has paid late or who owes Social Security is corrupt. You see, the political argument must be based on common sense and reason, not just sensationalism and appealing to people's emotions. Because usually the results of emotions, devoid of reasons, are not flattering to those who are overcome with emotion. And usually those who try to capitalize on people's emotions have no interest in those people using their reason. So do not be misled and do not be distracted. Keep your eyes on everybody, those of the past dispensations and those of the present dispensations, but do not be distracted. Until next time.
Yes, brother AJ, tap your screen to open your mic. Yeah, so that was Dwyer commentary for today. And basically, as I said, I am in basically the same agreement with Dwyer. And I know some of these operatives are folks who left over from the previous administration, sour grapes. You can't get rid of all of them. I mean, you know, we used to sift cassava for, is it Good Friday we used to do our cassava in St. Paul's?
You want me to ask my mother?
Ask your mother, because my grandmother had, I think, 3 different cassava sifter. One was the coarse one where they sift, and then the other one you sift for something else, and you sift for flour. And basically, I know ain't nowhere to get rid of everybody that's there. So those sour grapes, we're gonna have these problems.
Yeah. Lead them to the Lord.
Yep. But it's really unfortunate that they're trying to destroy someone like you for doing the job that you're doing, because I'll be honest with you, not because I have you here, I think I said it to you on 4th Street, if you could have heard me speaking loud enough, is that when you were named AG, I was happy to know that you were the choice that was made by the government. And I think it was a good choice in the Prime Minister and his cabinet to get someone like you to lead that office. I have seen the results, but back then I said we will see good results coming from Mr. Wilkin, because I had some dealing with him and he seems to be a very upstanding person and he knows the law. So you're part of the team now that they're trying to kill. They're trying to kill me too. So all I can say to you is welcome to the club. My boy Lord Kent always said that they love to hate Morrishaw. So maybe they love you to hate you. Eventually, hopefully, things will work out, because I understand the patch-up fella has gone regionally talking about this, and this does not make sense. I could say this to you. I do not know where it's at the moment, but in 2015, October 3rd, there was the first meeting here with, at the time, the Foreign Minister, Premier Brantley, and Timothy Harris and crew. And a question was asked to the then Prime Minister. Sam Kanda was the ambassador to the UN in the same meeting. And it was a very simple question. The question was asked of the Prime Minister, why is it the Marriott Hotel is collecting taxes from its guests and holding on to it and not turning it over to the government? And the response from Timothy Harris at the time is that he cannot speak on that. That was something that had to do with the former administration. And I reminded Sam Kanda that he needs to speak to Timothy Harris about bullshitting people. Simple. Because he was a part of that government for 18 of the 20 years. He was a part of that Labour administration for 18 of that 20 years. So he knew whatever arrangement that was done, if that was the case, that Marriott is collecting taxes and holding on to them. So he could have just been honest and tell the people what the deal is and let's move on. But these folks continue to mislead and to lie. And I can assure you, now that folks have heard your side of it, I was kind of skeptical about asking you about that question because I don't really want to put your family in any more danger than there already is. But I am quite happy that you choose on your own to discuss it. The online viewership, when you go back and check the thread, is very appreciative of your honesty and presenting the matter. And they're asking that you be strong and ignore the fake profiles out there that are trying to bring you down. Another lady just sent me a question for you. She wants to know the status of this law, whatever it is in school where young boys cannot go to school with long hair.
Yeah, I've discussed that with the Minister of Education. That's going to be no longer.
Okay.
That just cannot survive in 2023 in our society. I mean, you can't do anything about the private schools, but actually we might be able to.
No, I'm just about to say if it's going to be.
No, we might be able to. We just have to get to. We plan to do it for the new school year. We've discussed it already, but as you can see, we're really busy with some other things. But we've discussed it. Myself and the Minister of Education is my good friend, very, very good friend. We've discussed it and we want to get that resolved. So we'll get that resolved before the school year. Somebody sent me a comment saying that somebody was saying on the chat that if the Attorney General chose to support the strikeouts, then the converse is true if they didn't. So if they chose for CCM, if they chose not, is for NRP. You see the issue there?
I saw the comment, and I was going to speak to you about that afterwards because folks got to understand what was just explained. We just explained that.
Because you have to take the position, the party, when I say party, not political party, but the party in the case would take. If you were the party in the case, because the Attorney General office is the party in the case.
You assume.
So you take the position, you take the strongest position you can take. The strongest position we could have taken is that this thing is a nullity because they didn't do certain things properly. And if the opposite, imagine we didn't take that position, then they would definitely say we were favoring a particular party. That's not how it works. You take the position that the party in your position, whether defendant or claimant, would take to the full extent of the law.
Well, since folks want to get into that debate, I think, Mr. AG, I think we just need to take it to the next level for clarity. Because I think what people might be concerned about, if I can play a clip here, is that the Premier of Nevis, the current Premier of Nevis, have confessed to some irregularities and some hiccups. And I think that is more of a concern of the citizens home and abroad, more so than that matter. So the folks are concerned is where do we go from here in terms of the electoral process? We know that we fight for that democracy in St. Kitts, and there's concern about Nevis. So you might have heard it, but just for the folks online, let me just play these two clips that folks would understand what the conversation is about, and then you can respond, if you don't mind.
You all must not concern yourself, because all that happened apparently is that the tally gave one number, and then in the box there were additional 16 ballots. But the difficulty was that at the start of polling yesterday morning, we had some problems with the list. And so some people came to vote very early because they had the ID and they were on the master list. They were allowed to vote in the district, in the box that they normally vote.
And that's what led to that discrepancy. I don't want you all to worry yourself about a thing. Don't worry yourself about a thing. Because I'm going around all day. Imagine my opponent rather than coming and saying, and I want to tell you all about it because I hear the NRP saying they're going court and all kind of thing. Well, let them go court. That's okay. Because one thing I know, the hiccup involves 16 votes. 16. So, Patricia Bartlett, listen to me. You can have all 16. Because even if you get them, and I give you 16 on top of them, and another 16 and 16 more, you still lose. So let me tell you something. The court has a two-pronged test in election matters. One, was there some illegality? If the answer to that is even yes, you must also answer the second, did that affect the outcome? And so that's why I tell her, take 16 plus 16. You know something? Take 100, you still lose.
You see, Brother AG, so the issue right now for the people that are concerned is not so much about you and the strikeout. It's so much, I could play 20 more clips for you.
I've never heard that, you know. I've never heard that clip.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you, I could play more for you. That the Premier have acknowledged these irregularities, and he goes as far as say, even if there was illegalities. I was on the ground in Nevis, Mr. AG. I flew into St. Kitts on the 10th of December. I took the ferry across to Nevis on the 12th, and I was there. And I observed all of the hanky-panky, so I can speak to them. So, unfortunately, you're caught between a rock and a hard place because you're doing your job as the AG because you was brought into the matter. So you do the due diligence to save government money because naturally, if this case is to move forward, I believe that all of those people that have been sued, the commissioners of election and whoever, those folks will be paid by taxpayers, those lawyers, I assume.
Yep.
So these are what the people are concerned about now, Mr. AG. So I think what the people are asking for and what I am asking for is it your office? And if it's your office, what is being done to correct these issues? Because it was bad.
Yes, we want to reach to a point because this whole thing is on the path of to achieving a more perfect democracy. We'll never get to perfection, but we want to get as close to it as we can. So all of these things we're going to throw into the matrix and try to figure out how they don't happen again, you know, at all. You don't want any discrepancy. Look at what's happening in Nigeria. You have an election and you have two of the parties who lost saying there were major irregularities. It's not good. Look at the good old United States where people stormed the home of democracy after an election. Democracy breaks down when there's no certainty in elections. That's how fundamental that process is, because that's the fundamental aspect of democracy, you know, that the people get to choose. So, you know, you want to have a system that works. So we will be, the office has to lead the charge in how setting up the structure, but we don't control the operations of the election. But I mean, my personal view is I think I'm leaning more towards the commission, a separately funded commission, guaranteed money from Parliament every year. They do their audited accounts. They engage their professionals. There's no interaction whatsoever administratively with the executive. I'm leaning towards that idea more, but I'm not the one making that decision. I'm the one providing the options to the decision makers. We sit down, we debate, we discuss, we consult. Because you're not going to just unilaterally as a government decide on the new way to do elections. You're going to sit down with all the other parties and figure it out. What's the best way for everybody? Because elections affect everybody, you know? So we're going to try and figure it out. Of course, we are engaging in, you know, constitutional reform. Want to strengthen our constitution. That doesn't happen overnight. We want to sort out the relationship with Nevis from a legal perspective, from an economic perspective. You know, the Prime Minister has announced that and the Premier has confirmed that there will be a meeting of heads to figure out the economic disputes between the two islands. And all of that will take place very soon. I hope we've proven by delivering the good governance, the main good governance legislative agenda in 6 months that we're working hard. I mean, the worst thing somebody could tell me now is not working hard, because I've been working so hard. Because, I'm inspired because we really have a good relationship in cabinet. We really want to see things improve. Some things, yes, you wish they would happen sooner, but there are a lot of things outside of our control as well. We took office during a difficult economic time. We're trying to ride that storm, ride those waves, and I think when we will come up, we will deliver, right? And from observing, I think we will deliver some very good things for the Federation. I hope you're positive about the government. Not that I don't want. Everybody cannot be happy in a democracy, right? But you want to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So I was asking, are you what grade would you give us so far?
Honorable AG, I think nobody have to light any lamp to see Morrishaw. I bang my mouth every Wednesday here. And the situation is, when I started my campaign was to get rid of the farmer hag. That was the only prize I was looking for. And as the process continued and other folks got in my way, I put on the list the farmer hag, the patch-up fella, the ambassador, Alva Pemberton, the commissioner of police, and those people are gone. So I bang in 10 for 10 where the Prime Minister is concerned. Everything else that have to come will come in time. I don't expect everything to be fixed overnight. It took 7 years to put us in a rut. And I have seen some works being done. I'm not saying everything going to be perfect, but my major concern were those people that took away human rights, that was supporting nonsense. When there was under the previous administration, it was a problem, but they come and they supported it. I do not know if you know, Mr. AG, when I went down to our mission here in New York to speak to our ambassador, not only I was not able to speak with our ambassador, security was called. The UN security was called to remove me from in front of the building. The issue is here in America, they cannot tear gas us like you all do in St. Kitts. And they cannot remove us from someplace unless we are causing problems. So they was informed that I'm not doing anything wrong and they could not move me. So I'm not gonna be like some of the guys who trying to be politically correct and say, out of 10, I'm giving you 8 and 7 and 6. I am right there with the Honorable Prime Minister and the cabinet, and you as an AG, I am giving you a thumbs up. And if you go and check the thread, I can say to you that folks who might have been questioning your motives and what you are doing over the past 6 months, they now understand what you are doing and appreciate your hard work and are asking you to stay strong. So apart from myself, you can go online and check for yourself. The people appreciate you coming here, and this is what you guys have to continue doing as you go through the next couple of years. You have to come to the public and let the public know what you all are doing. Because short of you coming and telling the public what you are doing, they're going to assume. And people like to assume the worst.
Yes.
But if they hear from you, as a matter of fact, the Prime Minister is due to come and speak with me at some point, but I understand last week Parliament went late when he was supposed to join me, so I know he will be coming soon. But this is where the government, the ministers, not just you or the Prime Minister, but all ministers of government have to understand that you might have something in your manifesto that you say you will deliver in 6 weeks, or 6 months, or the first 100 days, and you get into government and realize it's not possible because of everything you met there. But you have to come back to the people and say to the people, listen, this was our agenda and it didn't work out. For example, under the previous administration, we see all kind of fake billboards to build new schools, to build new hospitals. But we see a little 6-inch by 24 piece of board up in Estridge pointing towards a range saying they're building a state-of-the-art detention center up there called a new prison. Where was the billboard to show the type of prison that was being built? That never took place. Now, last week, I think it was over the weekend, I saw the Prime Minister standing somewhere saying possible site of the new hospital. And those fake pages and those operatives from the opposition is trying to tell us now that there's no need for a new hospital. What under the previous administration just a few months ago, there was praising the billboard to build a brand new hospital. So why is it now that the Prime Minister is saying we're going to build a new hospital, but there's no billboard? All of a sudden the Prime Minister doing something wrong. So Brother AG, if we continue the roller coaster, you're not going to get no work done. Mr. Morrishaw is quite happy with the works that you guys are doing. And as long as when I send a message to get information and I get a response, whether positive or negative, that is all I need to have a clear mind that when I respond to my people that is questioning me, I could say, this is what the case is, this is what the setback is. Ignoring me for 2 years, like the former Prime Minister, the former have, would only set me off to do the things I did, to tell the people, listen, I reach out to the government and there's no response. You and I have been trying to get together since December. It is now March, but you're here. But you're not only here, you actually stayed in communication and explained to me what was going on, why you could not be here. As a matter of fact, for this evening, I was afraid to announce that you're going to be here because I figure something else might pop up where you're going to be caught up again and not being here. And I hate to tell my listeners that I'm going to have a guest and the guest don't show. So, Brother AG, just stay strong, partner. Keep the faith. And at the end of the day, you know, the people of Nevis, I can say this to them, is that presently, due to the strikeout case, I could understand the people of NRP might feel a certain way about it. But I would say to the people of NRP, which I support at the moment, that you got to blame the NRP players who knew they had this case to file if they don't do it on time and do it correctly. There shouldn't have been no loophole allowed. I've been campaigning since after the election on December 12th to file the case because I was on the ground and I witnessed the irregularities for myself. So for them to stay there and don't do the right thing and give a loophole, naturally, tap your screen up in your mic for me, AG, please. How many people on the government side would have been caught up in this case that the government will have to pay for their legal fees?
The parties were the supervisor of elections, the registration officers, the Electoral Commission, and the Attorney General. Okay,
so you're talking about 5-6 people.
Well, four parties. Well, no, it was 5 parties total, including the winning candidates.
Okay, so the situation is the government will have to stand this humongous bills had the case been filed properly. So you as the Attorney General see it fit that get the matter stop where it is because you have been sued. Follow the law.
Yes, that is the better point.
Follow the law.
You do what any party in your shoes would do.
You know, and at the end of the day, when you explain to me your position, I have no problem with it. I can only blame the people that should have known better, and if they needed help in filing the laws or whatever, because the Premier gave them all the ammunition they need. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send you the clip since you haven't had the chance to hear that. The Premier even said in a clip that his former, what do you call it, Deputy Premier came to him and said that irregularities took place in his constituency. Now they're the one that held the election. And he asked his deputy if he want to protest against the matter. Now, can you protest against yourself, Brother AG?
Well, in the system, if anybody wanted to challenge the result, they had access to the court to do so.
I understand that, Mr. H, but I am saying to you, Mr. H.
I know what you're saying to you. I know what you're saying to me, and I'm not going to answer. You could answer that one yourself.
I mean, if this thing wasn't so serious, it will be laughable, but it's a serious matter.
Yeah, but the lesson to be learned is we need to have situation. I mean, there will always be people raising issues. There may always be issues. We just have to try to minimize the issues so that there's clarity and everybody feels comfortable in the process.
I don't know if you could answer this question, AJ, but it was asked before, and I think I asked. Maybe you have answered it, but I'm going to ask again. There's been some back and forth about some $500+ million that was sent across to the island of Nevis as federal budgetary support. And the overrun of the funds there at the hospital, that seems to have some controversy about the right amount. Stuff like that. Would this information be able to be obtained from the request of the Freedom of Information Act?
In terms of how much was sent over?
Now, how much of the money that was spent on the hospital, the federal funds that was spent on that wing?
Yes, yes.
You know something?
Because there would be no.
Thanks for another birthday gift, Mr. AJ.
No, because that would. I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to think of the exceptions. Off the top of my head, I cannot think of any of the exceptions that wouldn't allow you to ask for that information, because that's public expenditure, and public expenditure must be accounted for.
I really appreciate you. You're over an hour now, so I'm not going to hold you up much longer. I know you want to go and celebrate with your family, with your daughter's achievement this evening. And I just want you to know, AJ, don't wait for me to call you for your availability. You know, we haven't finished business. Just send me a message and let me know you're available. It's Wednesday evenings. And let's continue the conversation, because as long as you come to the public, you leave that uncertainty and those chatter out there away. And you can consider us as part of the family here who will help you and support you through all the grinding you're going to be getting, because you have a lot more grinding to get.
Plenty. But I can leave them to the Lord.
That's the idea.
Yes.
So,
well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I'm happy we got to finally link up after discussing it for a few months. I really enjoyed the time. I really enjoy your perspective. We got some interesting questions from the audience. I'm pleased that we were able to try to answer them. And I wish you and your audience a very good night. I will be back. I'll be back. Just, let me know what you want to talk about and we'll talk.
Yeah, look forward to that. And it's been too long. This track I'm going to drop for you. I do not know if you're a Rasta man like the Prime Minister, but there's a song here by Culture. It says, "Too long in slavery." We just got out of Black History Month. It's the 1st of March, but it's been too long. So let's just stay together and stay positive. And
you don't have to be dread to be Rasta,
No, man, that's the idea. That's the idea. So feel free to reach out to me anytime, Mr. AJ, if you have anything to report, any good things you want to share with the general public, just shoot them my way and I'll be happy to be the messenger.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Have a good night. And I'll listen to the tune offline.
Thank you. Cool.
Take care.
Separation, stagnation, cause the children of God will be marveling as if them can't satisfy. Jano, shooting up my life. But it's been too long in slavery. How come it's not a seven year I say? It's been too long
Yes, the people of Nevis has been too long in slavery. We need to get out of that slavery mentality and deal with the matters at hand. We cannot wait for stuff to be thrown in our laps, you know. We got to be proactive, not reactive. So, you know, I'm gonna drop this one for the Rasta man them out there, and them boys are trying to make the hub a kind of legal and thing now. Wanna big up my brother there, the man. But Derek Davidson, how you doing? I know you listen weekly. My boy there, brother Neil Myers from the JA area, the man Delroy King. Gonna drop this track for you. This one is called the International Hub. The Manchester Watson, how you doing? This one is for you as well, my brother.
I took a split this morning off the international herb. It make I feel so groovy, man, the international herb. It give me inspiration in music, man, the international herb. So that is why I can't refuse it, man, the international
Oh yeah.
herb. My brethren, I love it and I love it, man. The international herb. The span of my life is not above it, man. The international herb. Hey! Ja! Hey, feel it. It's good for meditation, man. The international herb. And it was way from creation, man. The international herb. Even the doctors knows about it too. The international herb. Scientists they knows about it, man. The international herb. Take a draw and don't you doubt it, man. The international herb. But if you go to Africa, you will see it, man. The international herb. Run up by England and you see it too. The international herb. Step by Bermuda and you see it, man. The international herb. Grand clear. I tell you what. The international herb. Man, I just can't do without it, man. The international herb. Come from Taiwan, type and sticky. The international herb. Colombian style, it rapping back to the international herb. School children, they love it and they love it. The international herb. I saw where birds and birds eat it, man. The international herb. And I've got to utilize it, man. The international herb. No one can tell I to brutalize it, man. The international herb.
Yes, man, that's the international hope there. The man culture. I love that track, you know. I want to big up my boy, the man Cabo, over there in the Nevis area. The man that give you that good up goat water. Also that lovely fish and green banana. Drink in the back and stuff like that, you know. I want to big up my brother there. Good evening, Sister Cora Bennett. How are you doing? We're gonna jump out of the reggae mode now and drop into some real Kaiso, you know, because we have to cry for Nevis this evening. We got to cry for Nevis. I know Sister Janice Daniel Hodge and her team, they're trying their best to save Nevis from this corrupt regime there. But sometimes you get setbacks. And like the good saying goes, nothing beat a trial but a failure. And you learn from your mistakes, you learn from your errors, but NRP is strong and NRP will come back things will work out for the people of Nevis. You just have to believe that. So this one is coming from the man, Brother Baron. I do not know if the AG's wife listened to this program, but eventually I'm pretty sure she will hear this track. So this one is for you and your family. Just stay strong and stay safe. We are all praying for you and your family to stay safe, and I hope whichever individual that it was that decided to come to your home, something can be done about that. We cannot have people doing this kind of nonsense, peddling confusion on social media, coming to your house to disturb your family and think it's all okay. So this one is called Rivers of Tears.
Hey. Get that.
This world has so much turmoil and strife, and things to give man horrors in life. So much torment, misery and pain, all taking toll on the human brain. It's shooting and looting, disputing, revoluting. Now this world and all its affairs slowly drowning in human tears. Hey. It's tears of tribulation, tears out of frustration, tears of futility, tears of anxiety. People bawling, teardrops falling, people crying, crying. All a river of tears, river of tears, river of tears, river of tears, crying. All a river of tears. Hey, get there. Till a day, till a day, till a day. Hey, while politicians living it up, institutions become corrupt. Vagrants and destitutes on the street, infants with simply nothing to eat. Disarming, disarming, alarming, droughts and famine. The overlords and a chosen few, making the whole world blue. It's tears caused by agony, tears caused by tyranny, tears for the many slain, like the falling rain, people falling, teardrops falling, people crying, crying. Oh, a river of tears, river of tears, river of tears, river of tears, crying. Oh, a river of tears. Hey, racism and apartheid. Communism on the other side. Every system have the axe to grind, bringing despair to the human mind. Disruption, destruction, invasion, assassination. Government troops and government spies putting water in people's eyes. There's tears in Ethiopia, tears in South Africa, tears in Afghanistan, tears flood in Pakistan. People bawling, teardrops falling, people crying, crying. The whole of river of tears, river of tears, river of tears, river of tears, crying. The whole of river of tears. Hey, brothers,
Yes, that's Rivers of Tears by the man, the mighty Baron there. And as we come down to a close of the program, as we come down to a close here, we're going to drop this track for my boy there, the man, Brother Hendrickson. How you doing, Brother Tony? Everything good with you? Hope all is well with you and your sister and your family there. I want to touch my son there, Jeffroy Jr. over there in the LA area. I understand you guys are having some serious weather there with the snow and cold on that end. Hope you and Sister Jazz are doing fine. I want to touch my sister there, Esther in Tortola, Makish and the kids. Hope you guys are doing fine. My cousin there in the Virgin Islands, the man Kenton, Sister Pam. Hope all is well with you and the kids. My brother there, Shorty, the man called Morris. Well, Felicia Morris. How about the man Ivan Brown, Sister Patsy Brown, Ma and Ralph? Hope you guys are doing well. Sister Eto, nice. My cousin there, my favorite cousin there, Sister Natalie Carty. How you doing? The man Twinkie. How about Craig? The man Sugar Steve Clark. The man DJ Rabuka, Lincoln Hobson. Thanks for all your support, my brother. Everything good with you. The man Ellie. Brother Elvan Ellie, how you doing? The man Alvan Brown. Brother George Misbit hanging out somewhere around the world. The man there, Brother Sebastian. Austin Williams, how are you doing? How is Sister Laura? How is the crew there? Just want to big up my baby girl one more time. She sent me a voice note there a couple of evenings back telling me, Daddy, I got 100% on my numbers. So my baby girl is coming on real nice as usual. Yeah, for you folks that been reaching out to me for some time about the bus ride that you missed in November, you can save the date. We're going to be having another bus ride come July 29th. So save the date. Remember, the tickets normally go very fast. So don't wait until last minute and call me about whether or not I have tickets available. Once the bus sell off, that's it. Stop harassing me. So set the date. That's July 29th. We'll be having another good up bus ride there. So feel free to check me. And for those of you guys who still interested in going down to St. Kitts with us, that's June 17th to July 1st, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the music festival. We still have a few tickets available. The cost $572 round trip, $572 round trip, and you would not be able to get that figures nowhere on any airline at this time. So there's about three seats left. First come, first serve. Feel free to check in on me, and we'll definitely take care of you. Also, the cricket season is about to start here in the Boogie Down Bronx in the New York area. As usual, we are still seeking players who are interested in participating in DJ Morrishaw Sports Club. Just give me a shout, 917-597-0195. We look forward in you being a part of the effort here to maintain our presence in the cricketing arena in the New York tri-state area. So you folks, Kittitian and Nevis and alike, or anyone who wants to play cricket. We also take ladies in the team, you know, so feel free to reach out. Good night, sister. DJ Farrell Smith, how are you doing? How is the family? How is everything on your end? Hope all is well. We're going to drop this final track here by the man Baron. This one is called Tell Me Why. And we're going to get into our closing. As it was a beautiful evening here, speaking to our Honorable Attorney General, the man Garth Wilkin. I want to thank you, my brother, and thank your family for allowing you the time to come and chat with us here. The online viewership was very much appreciative. I want to big up my boy there, the man J.A. Dwyer Astafan, Sam Kanda, the man there, brother Larry Vaughan, the man Douglas Watley, the Big Lies, the Talk Puppy, the man Curtis Crook, the man E.K., the man, how about my boy, the Tango? I'm going to shout you in a bit. How you doing, brother Tango? Everything good with you? Oh, the man Laro, the man Desi, the man there, brother Crazy. Also want to big up my boy there in the Florida area, the man brother Benson, brother Shandos. Condolences to you and the family. I understand your wife passed away. The funeral is on the 4th, which is this coming here Friday, I think it is the 4th, in Florida. Hope all is well. Sorry I cannot be there to support you, my brother, but God blessings on you and the family. Stand by for this one. Tell me why.
Oh, yeah. Tell me why. Tell me why. Hey! Give it! When I pick you up, you was lively and you was hot. I tell myself this is it. We go party down the place. Now you keep pulling back and you have it in your waist. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Tell me why you don't have the feeling and that is so nice. I wonder what's on your mind. Don't tell me you're going to ruin my night. Tell me why you don't have the feeling and that is so nice. I wonder what's on your mind. Don't tell me you're going to ruin my night. Maybe you want something to shake you ding-a-ling. Hey. Maybe you want to roll your buffalo. Maybe you want a man to get back out of hand. Maybe you want the wine to fire up the eye. Till the day, hey, give it. You can say to me that you don't have the energy. We were staring down the place, drink for drink and waste for waste. But now you have me in shock. You go run out of love. Oh Janet, I want something. Maybe you want the man. Shake your ding-a-ling. Maybe you want the man. To roll your bambalam. Maybe you want the man. To get back out the hand. Maybe you want the man. To fire up behind.
Yes, man, that's the son of the man Baron there. Tell me why. I want to say good evening, belated happy birthday to Sister Natalie Francis and Charita Francis, who celebrated birthday yesterday, 28th of February. I want to believe they're born on the 29th and just want to get birthday every year, you know, so they just take 28th. My schoolmates, lovely people. I want to big up my boy there, brother Ivor Henry. How are you doing, my brother? Sandrine Lewis Daly, how are you doing? The Iona Door, the man Emmanuel Gavaya. Well, I want to big up my cousin there, Gloria Hutchinson there at Smart Fit, St. Kitts. I know she have a store there in Nevis in the mall area. There's a location on Cairn Street there on 4th Street across from the Walwyn gas station. And the new location there at the old Simaco building on Central Street next to Skelec. Just check her out and tell her JefroyMorrishaw sent you. Also check out my uncle there, Brother Joseph Emmanuel down at Garvey's Estate. For your party needs, you want a party session, you want to have an outdoor event, you want to get some rooms to stay, there's rooms that you can hang out with Joseph. Also check my boy there, Jamrock over in the Frigate Bay area, the Jamrock restaurant if you need some lovely food. Also Brother Marshall's up the hill there from the roundabout in Frigate Bay. Don't forget also to check the boys there at Spratnet. Looking forward to visit those guys in a couple of weeks when we get there to play some domino and cricket. Look forward to meeting up with my folks there at the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Sports Club and the St. Kitts Cricket Association, also the Nevis Cricket Association. Look forward to hanging with the folks there in the Federation. Wanna touch Sister Cora Barrett one more time. Thanks for your continued support. Sister Tracy Jeffers, Tracy Powell, good night. I'm going to drop this track here, the unofficial track. It's called the unofficial anthem for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. I want to big up my boy Lord Kent, Sister Debbie, my engineer there, the man Ike. How are you doing, my brother? Good evening. Everything good with you? Brother Elvin Ellie, thanks for all your hard work, my brother. Keep up the good work. We will get there one day. Just stay positive and do the best you can do for our beloved Federation. Stand by for the unofficial anthem of the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. This one is called Arise. This country is yours, folks. St. Kitts Nevis massive. You got to just keep the faith. You know, there's always a storm before calm.
reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Can your conscience be clear? Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in disharmony, separated politically. Hatred for a brother, cannot love each other. No, I say no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, citizens, the country is yours. People of Nevis, remember that little island is yours, all yours, not the politicians. So you just have to hold straight and hold them accountable. It was a very beautiful evening, as usual. Thanks to the Honorable AG for joining me this evening. I want to big up my folks there in the Tobago area. Sister Missionary Deborah Wallace, how are you doing? Good evening. The man Roger Wallace. How about Sister Melissa Beard, Victor Beard, Gloria Beard, the man Daniel, Chanel, and the kids there. Hope all is well with you guys. Folks, we just have to continue to do the right thing and leave the rest to the Almighty. Remember, we're just passing through. And whatever we do, live after us. In the meantime and between time, I'm DJ Morrishaw saying to you, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you may be. It's that time that I have to run again. God blessings on everyone, and look forward to yet another broadcast next Wednesday, same place, same time, 6 p.m. I think it's Nevis time. I don't know when the clock will be changing back in New York. Maybe it might be next weekend, so we will see when it's going to be. Either way, you know, I want to big up my boy Carbo. Carbo, don't forget to put your address in the chat and your number, that the folks will come and find you. I know you keep forgetting to do it weekly, so I request that the Prime Minister and his cabinet continue to do the good that they're doing and make sure that they bring this good governance agenda to its full fruition, that the people of St. Kitts Nevis can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Until such time, God blessings on everyone.